I get asked a lot of questions about the Mira and its gearbox, and it's usually, how do I make my Mira that sick? No, I'm just kidding. For those of you that don't know, the Mira has an EJDE gearbox out of a Daihatsu Sirion. And if you're wondering how to put one in a Mira, I'm going to show you, I'm going to tell you how. If you're not familiar with the L200 gearboxes, the 5-speed 660 gearboxes, got a few problems. The first problem is they max out at 145 kilometers an hour. Well, I've found running my 13s on it, that's as fast as I could go. And the second problem is they're extremely short geared. I guess you could say that that's the same problem. But anyway, the solution to that is an EJDE gearbox. The EJDE gearbox is larger in its diameter, it's like more beefy, but there is a few problems you'll face if you try and put an EJDE box into your L200. So the good news is it will just bolt in straight to your engine, no matter which E-series motor you have, and all the L200 engine mounts and gearbox mounts will bolt straight up to it. However, the first problem you'll face is your clutch cable. So with this clutch assembly, this bracket here, this one here, this one here, this one here, I've cut and extended this 100mm. So usually this is way down there, and then there's an extension on the cable which extends it 100mm as well. So everything's spaced up 100mm. So that way I can run the standard L200 clutch cable and everything bolts straight on that way. I've also moved the clutch, the cable usually runs through here, but now I've switched them around. This is now my speedo cable, and my clutch cable comes through down here under the throttle body. The second problem you'll face lies underneath. So right there, you see that bar? That is your shifter linkage, and in order to make that fit you have to bend it right there so it can pass under the subframe. Once you have your linkages bolted to the gearbox and pushed up and the arms are bent under the subframe, you can then come inside and bolt it straight into where the L200 shifter assembly usually is. So usually the L200s run a cable shifter linkage setup, but literally these are the only two bolts that hold the Sirion shifter assembly, and all I did was use the original bolt here for the L200 shifter assembly and drilled a new one right here. As you can see, that's the old one, that's the new one, just a nut and bolt, hold it there, and then you'll end up with a huge gaping hole in your transmission tunnel that you'll need to plate up, or that will cover most of it. But in case there's a fire, it's best to plate it up. But the third and the most important issue you will face is your drive shafts. They will not fit at all. Sirion ones don't fit, Mira ones don't fit. You'll have to get them custom made, or there is an option to get them from Malaysia. It's the same car, but in that country it's called a Perodua cancel, and they have models that run the EJDE 10, I believe, with an EJ gearbox in them. So they have already made shafts that will work. Now, I would never run cut and shut drive shafts, but if I did, this is how I'd make them. FBI, open up! I'm not sure if you can see this, but that right there, this is a sleeve over the drive shaft. So the drive shaft gets cut in half, bits added or bits taken away. Look at this graph. And then a sleeve gets put over both ends and welded up. If you're wondering what the exact measurements are, the driver's side needs to be extended 19mm and the passenger side needs to be shortened 25mm. You're probably sitting there thinking, how the hell do I extend a drive shaft 25 mil. I will explain. It's not legal. Anyway, so we'll get a bit closer to our diagram. So the way I did it is I used two drive shafts. I used the Mira drive shaft and then a Sirion drive shaft. And the way I extended it was I cut the Mira one in half, sorry, the Sirion one in half, and then cut the Mira one sort of longer on one end. So to get 25 mil longer, 150 mil left of that drive, sorry, 150, it'll be 150 mil from here to here, because half of 300 is 150. So 150 mil there, plus 175, that's an extra 25 mil. And then you take this and you weld it, you get rid of that, you get rid of this one, and you get rid of that one, and then you weld that part with that part here and here, and then you have 25 mil extended drive shaft. I ended up doing this with both sides, so I had 4 drive shafts in total, 2 Sirion, 2 Mira ones. So that way the splines in the gearbox were Sirion ends and the splines in the hubs were Mira ends. So that's pretty much all you need to know about EJ swapping a whole EJ into a Mira, especially the gearbox. You can swap the gearbox with an EF. I ran an EF with the EJ gearbox for a while before I did the full EJ swap. So hopefully that clears up some of the information or misinformation that's actually going around about it. I'm not saying the way I've done it is the correct way or it's the wrong way, but it's the way I've done it and it's worked. It's been in the car for 3-4 years now and it is still going hard, even with the drive shafts that I don't drive on the street with. But thank you very much for watching and we'll see you next time.
Anxiety, filling up every space, no privacy. And silently, it could build and build until you finally see. Whoa, it's taking over, damn no closure, moving closer. No exposure, I just wanna be a loner.